Hey, GCCS kids. This is Mrs. Baker. I teach first grade at Grove City Christian, and I am so excited to get to do the first chapel of 2021 with you today. I hope you guys enjoyed your break. I hope you got time to relax and rest, enjoy some stillness with the Lord and with your families. All right, so today I get to tell you a little bit about my story and what it was like when I got to grow up. And I'm going to tell you some of the things that I felt like God has taught me. And I also want to talk to you about not only what He's taught me through my life, but just some things that He's been putting on my heart about things that I didn't know and have learned. Okay, so I'm going to change the view where I'll be in the little corner over here. And I hope you can still see me. And I'm going to show you my slideshow. So this is my family now. This is my husband, Tim, and my daughter, Lydia. She's in first grade in Mrs. Johnson's class, and that is Jude. Jude is in kindergarten in Mrs. Dozier's class. Now, I'm going to start over and tell you what it was like when I was a kid. So here's a picture of my family. This is my dad and my mom, and there's me as a little baby. Do you see that mohawk? I did not have very much hair, and my parents and my grandparents would put corn syrup in my hair to glue bows in my hair. They loved to do that. So I always had like this little mohawk sticking up when I was a baby. Here's a picture of my mom pregnant with my dad, and I think this is in the way. Let's see if I can move it. Here was my brother being born. My brother Jake, which I have a lot of interesting family members. So I'm going to tell you about that in a minute, but my first sibling was Jake, and I'm going to show you, sorry, there's a picture of me and Jake, and Jake was my little buddy. My parents divorced pretty quickly when I was little, and so Jake and I had to go to mom's on some days and to dad's on some days. And I know you guys, some of you have been through that too, and that's tough for a little kid. But what was cool was that Jake was always there with me, so that was pretty neat. So here's Jake, and look at me with my soccer medal. I was really proud of it. There's me and my tricycle when I was little. And then I thought I'd show you one where I was a little bit older. I had to probably be third grade then, or fourth grade. That's when I got glasses, which is funny. I don't need them anymore. It's weird how that worked out. All right, I wanted to show you guys what I looked like at your age. So kindergarten, raise your hand if you're kindergarten. That's what Mrs. Baker looked like when she was in kindergarten. Look at this big, poofy, pink dress. I was so proud of it. I loved it. All right, raise your hand if you're first grade. First graders, look at this. Do you see my little girl Lydia said, "Mom, you look like a vampire." I have those front teeth missing. Yeah, first grade's a fun one, and that's why I think I chose to teach first grade. I really like it. There's my second graders. Raise your hand. Yep. Now those teeth grew in, and now I look like a bunny, right? Look how big those teeth are, and they didn't seem to fit my mouth yet. All right, third graders. Third grade was one of my favorite years too, third grade. I had a great teacher, and she is actually one of the reasons why I became a teacher. Her name was Mrs. Ferguson, and I feel a sneeze coming on. Excuse me if it, yep, there it is. Mrs. Ferguson had a little dog, and she would bring him in to the classroom, and if we did a really good job, we would get to be the ones to take him out on his walk to go to the restroom outside, which was so cool. And she was just a kind of a tough teacher. I kind of got lazy in third grade, and they had put me in special classes for reading, and Mrs. Ferguson looked at me one day and said, "Ashley, you are you're much smarter than you're showing us. If you work hard, I know that you would be a great student." And that year, I ended up getting straight A's for my next quarter. Um, she really inspired me and believed in me. So I hope to do that for my students too. And fourth grade, I thought I was cool stuff. I had my ears pierced then. And fourth graders, you start to really grow up. So, yep, that's what Mrs. Baker looked like, huh? It's interesting, isn't it? It's weird. All right, I want to talk to you a little bit about my family. My family's might be a little like your family. It's different. It was hard. It was hard as a kid to adjust to different families. So my dad was dating Sherry that's my stepmom there in this picture here. This is my dad. That's my stepmom, Sherry. And I was around 3, I think, when they were together. So sorry, I keep moving my box around. I'm not sure what to do. So um, she had a daughter, Chelsea. And so I was used to growing up with me and Jake. And then when they got married, I got a new sister. I got a sister, and her name is Chelsea. She's my stepsister. And so she would always stay at my dad's house, but me and Jake would go back and forth between our mom's and our dad's house. So then I thought, okay, that was a little change. No problem, right? We get used to that. And then I was 9 years old, and they said, we're going to have another baby. We're going to have a baby together. And that's Alex right here. Can you see him? This is me right here. I hope you can see my pointer. I'm not sure how. I haven't used this program much, so I hope you can see that. But this is me here on the left, and Alex is sitting in my lap. So it was an adjustment at first when I was little, and he was probably 2 or 3 in this picture. So at very first, I had a really hard time with all the attention he was getting, and I wasn't getting much of that attention anymore. But then soon he was like a little brother that I could just love on and play with, and it was so fun. And now look at us. We're all grown up. Sorry, I keep bouncing this around. These pictures are all in different places. Um, so this is the Allen family. So this is my stepmom, Sherry, and me, and my sister, Chelsea, and Alex, and Jake. And you're probably thinking, who is this little girl right here? Well, guess what? When I was, I gotta look at my notes. Was I 22? Yeah. As 22 years old, they said, we're having another baby. I was getting ready to be married, and my sister Chelsea was already married at the time. I'm the oldest of all of them, even though Alex is much bigger than me and taller than me, and so is Jake now. But I'm the oldest of all my brothers and sisters. And now I have a sister that is only 2 years older than my daughter. So Hartley could be my daughter. It's interesting to see that Hartley is my sister, and she plays with my daughter, and she's been growing up with her. So God has taught me so much through that, and it's been a blessing. Every life, every person is a blessing. And so even though some of those announcements were hard for me, and it's an adjustment, and there's going to be times in your life where you're going to have changes where it's going to scare you, and it's going to worry you, and God helps us through it all. So that's the Allens, and that was my name growing up. My name was Ashley Allen, and my mom later got remarried, and so her name, oh, sorry, I forgot about this one. So I wanted to tell you a little bit just about the Allens. This is actually my grandpa in these 2 pictures, and this is my dad over here painting. The Allens, we didn't get to spend as much time together because I lived with my mom most of the time, but the Allens really taught me a lot about my creativity side. My dad, he might not admit it, but he's a great artist, and he's always had a talent for painting and building. And my great grandfather, he's no longer alive, but when I met him and we were in their house one day, they talked about how my grandpa and my great grandpa, they built that house from the ground up. They built everything. They did all the plumbing. They did all the electrical. They did all those things. every once in a while they will ask for help, but they are very talented. And so is my grandpa. My grandpa has now taught that to my dad, and they've taught me a little bit, but they really have taught me to be able to do things for myself. And oh, I'm running out of time, but the Allens are a blessing. And then this is my mom. So most of my life, it was just me, Jake, and mom when at mom's house. So I didn't have a man in the house most of the time when I was growing up. And so that was interesting. Do you see me on the slide here with my mom? This was me at church camp in the middle. And then there's me in that little leopard costume there. This is my mom, my beautiful mom as a bride, and she married my stepdad, Mike. And it was much later in my life. I was about 10 or 11 when they met. And so we were kind of used to how our house ran. And he came in, and him and my mom had found Christ and became Christians. And that changed my life a lot. And at first, I didn't like it. I was like, this is a lot of change. This isn't what we do. But man, it really helped my life. I got to learn a lot about God and who He is. And as a new Christian, I had to learn a lot of new things. Now, I only have 15 minutes on this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this and then I'm going to start a second one. Um, but here's us a little older, my stepdad Mike and my mom and me and my brother. And as a new Christian, I was going to tell you this story really quick. I was so excited to be a Christian. And I thought, once I become a Christian, I am never going to make any more mistakes anymore. I'm not going to sin anymore. And of course, that is what we want to do, and we want to try our best. But I kept getting frustrated every time I would lie again, or every time I would treat a friend badly. And Lord, why do I keep messing up? I asked you into my heart. And I would go down to the altar almost every Sunday. And so I had a lot to learn about God's love. So in the next video, I'm going to talk to you a lot about how God started to teach me who He really is. All right, I hope you guys are enjoying this so far, and I can't wait to talk to you some more about it. All right.